Welcome to the Spotlight Session. It's a game-changing interview series that showcases award-winning agency owners to share secrets of starting and scaling a marketing business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of our podcast here at HighLevel called the Spotlight Sessions. Today, I have a very special guest who has been in our community, and John Bermudez, Ethan, and some of our team members found her for us, and she's doing some really cool things with her company called Fortune House Media. They are serving a boutique style marketing agency, almost a consultancy in the blue collar space, and they're in the middle of transitioning and moving all into AI. So we thought it's a perfect opportunity to have this conversation. Karina, thanks for saying yes to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So help us understand who you are, what kind of agency are you building, and how did you find High Level?
Okay, awesome. So I'm Karina Correa. Again, thank you for introducing me. And my agency is called Fortune House Media. So we essentially started, as I would say most agencies start nowadays, a little bit of social media and lead generation, right? So there was an obvious gap in the market where people, service-based business owners, just need leads. They need more business, they need leads. And so that's how we started. When I first started, though, don't kill me, I had never heard of Go High Level. And so I was really out, I feel like, in the wilderness. And someone came along and actually they assumed that I was already using it because I had an agency, right? So they were saying go GHL and they were speaking to me in this language, assuming that I was already using the software. And so that allowed me to think, if this person is assuming, not even asking if I'm using this, let me start researching a little bit about what they're talking about. And so that's how once I essentially read all of the features, it was a no-brainer. I had enough experience in the space where I saw you guys took the best out of all the softwares. And I love that it was truly geared towards agencies and that I can have all of my accounts in one place. So it just made sense after that.
Got it. So how did you get into the world of digital marketing? Like, did you just go right into entrepreneurship out of, at a young age, or like what's the story on that?
Okay, so the story on that is I put myself through school. I went to college. I graduated with journalism, broadcasting at that time. TV was still a thing. And I put myself through school in nightlife. When I graduated, I had a baby. I'm the mom of a beautiful 9-year-old daughter. And at that time, I don't know what it was. I listened to actually a podcast, funnily enough. Pat Flynn was speaking about online marketing at that time, more so in the online course angle. And I thought it was so interesting. I really understood the concept right away. My problem at the time was I didn't necessarily have a skill and I didn't have an audience, but I understood if I ever did, I could sell a course. So I started looking for people online who did have an audience and a skill. And I took a bunch of online courses. I developed my own skill set and I ended up working with influencers for a few years. So my digital marketing background actually comes a lot more in funnels, webinars, info products. Coincidentally, you can say we owned a house and a family friend was going to remake our bathroom. Okay. And being a female that I am, I said, okay, let me see their Instagram. Let me see what they've done. I want to get inspired. And I saw their Instagram profile for this guy who was a friend of the family, and he was a general contractor. And I was just like, oh my God, please do not let this guy do the bathroom. He's going to do an awful job. There's no way. He did it anyway. And I was shocked when I tell you that bathroom looked like it belonged in another house. And so out of my own shame, I said, listen, do me a favor, give me your Instagram password. Let me do something for you. Have you ever heard of ads? I started kind of questioning him a little bit. And I saw that the reason that he gave us such a good deal was because he was struggling. And I was like, wow, that's such a shame that someone with such great ability and craftsmanship is struggling because they don't know how to market themselves online. That's literally what it was. Because if I was thinking that, I'm sure other people were thinking that, regardless of the price, even though the price was really generous, right? It was still kind of like, well, I understand why the price is that because it's not good. So we kind of rebranded, and I did it as a favor to him at that point. I was like, listen, I'm going to help you out because you really deserve this. We just rebranded his Instagram And then I ran his ads. I kid you not, within 6 weeks, he had closed like $50,000 worth of business just from DM ads alone at that time, which are very effective. And
Mm.
so I just recognized the ability to help this niche kind of right away. I saw that there was a high ticket item there and the possibility for a very high ROI with a very easy to provide service on our end. And so my curiosity for general contractors begun at that point.
Wow. So when it comes to now shifting that market into AI, like I know we're going to spend the next 30, 40 minutes chatting through this. So for those of you that are watching, tell us where you're checking in from. If you are resonating with Karina's story, let us know as well. And most importantly, what I want to do is make sure as Karina or I are discussing this, you get something out of this. So in order for us to do that, we're going to keep this conversation a bit structured. So our topic for today is going to be modernizing the blue collar businesses with CRM and AI. So the three things that we're going to walk through is automating the busy work without losing the human touch, the voice and chat AI as if it's a 24-hour, front desk, and also how to set them up for success for growth. Karina, what has been your experience when it comes to, looking at AI? Like when did you decide, okay, I have to make this shift for my clients to become like an AI oriented resource?
So, yeah, funnily enough, so this happened just about 6 months ago. Yes, I was one of the actually the first people when Chat GPT first came out, and it was like it seemed something really cool, etc. Unfortunately, I didn't really look at it as a tool that would turn into what it is right now, right? I think from 2023 to 2025, the shift has been incredible, right? Tremendously so. And so I actually had dinner with somebody in the industry. And shout out to Ashton, he's amazing. So we had dinner and he was telling me about AI in a very different way than I had ever heard about AI before. And in a way, I'm hoping to pay that forward with this conversation because I think that it's really important for us to realize just the short amount of time that we truly have to take advantage of this opportunity before it also transforms and quantum leaps into the next thing. Because like as you probably know, there's a lot of changes now with what we're able to make with AI and how AI is able to make AI and all types of stuff that we can talk about. So about 6 months ago, I had dinner with Ashton. We spoke about AI and I started becoming really interested. And I can tell you at that time, because I'm serving all of my contractors, what happens when you have an agency, hopefully, is that you start understanding your clients' pain points, right? And that's how literally everything had started. And that's the way I look at Go High Level. It's like, how can I solve as many as the problems that my clients have through automation, through software, and now through AI, right? So when we first started, it was very scrappy because my background was not in agency world, right? So I knew all of the online marketing gurus for online courses. And that's why it actually took me a while to find even people who owned agencies because it was a different world. So when I did find that, including yourself, Paulson, a lot of resources on YouTube, et cetera, I started learning more about the agency world. And I figured out, okay, one of the first things that they're going to need is rebranding their social media. We did that. Everybody knows how to do that. Okay. Second thing they're going to need is leads. Everybody here probably knows how to generate leads as well. But then what happens after that, right? I think that's the differentiator because when the leads start coming in, which they do, your clientele, everybody's going to have a different team in place or not in order to get the most out of them, right? So for me, we're talking about the blue collar space, right? Electricians, plumbers, home remodelers. A lot of them are out on the field. Okay. So yes, they're picking up the phone, but they're in the middle of things, right? And if a lead comes in, their number one priority, unless they're feel really not busy at all, is not necessarily always calling back that lead right away, right? And lead speed is a real thing. So I started asking myself, okay, I know I'm sending everybody leads, but they're not giving me the feedback of what happens to these leads, right? And so that's where Go High Level is so key for us. So that's where we started building a CRM system because I have to say 98% of my clients don't have a CRM, never had a CRM before, don't have the email list of their past clients, and they're not organizing anything at all, right? And so they're good at their craft, right? But this technological stuff is really not for them in a way, right? And so I said, okay, the first thing we have to do is, and so we started just obviously syncing Facebook and Instagram to go high level and started making opportunity boards in a way that's visually easy for, again, a blue collar person to be able to log in and see their stuff. And the way we kind of positioned it at first was is going to be transparency. So you can see all of the leads coming in, because there's also questions about whether we give a lead to somebody else, et cetera. It's like, these are all of your leads. These are the leads that came in from Facebook, right? Now, we asked ourselves, okay, so now we have a set place where all of the leads are, but how can we answer the leads for the contractors, right? And then
Mm,
came the automations that GHL offers. We're talking about automatic SMS. As soon as the lead comes in, we answer them. Okay, what's the next step? How can we pre-qualify the lead for them? How can we get all the information to find out if the lead is actually in the place where we want them to be, right? Where they're actually ready right now to take the next step. So we started building out forms and questionnaires and just guiding people through SMS to fill those out so that our contractors didn't have to really answer back a lead until we felt that lead was fully pre-qualified. And
mm,
as a business owner, I have to say that has been a major selling point, and has really increased the positive experience of our clientele, because even though they have all these leads coming in, we're filtering them out, right? And so that was one. And then the CRM side is we created custom opportunity boards for each one, because some of them have someone that calls back the leads, some of them they don't, et cetera. So we built out a visual dashboard in a way through the opportunity boards where I can log in and I can see, okay, we've been sending them all these leads. How many turned out into estimates? How many actually closed, et cetera. So now they're seeing a very clear ROI on our service. And they're also organizing their leads, and we're not missing out on them, because what happens is now that we understand, oh, these people didn't answer, now we have automations to get back at them. Hey, do you still need us? Hey, we're still here for you, right? If they did set an estimate, send a nice email of what they can expect during the estimate, et cetera. And so we have built out all these touch points for them to make it as easy as possible. All they have to worry about is setting the estimate and closing the lead, right?
yeah.
But go ahead, sorry.
No, no, keep going. I'm
Okay.
loving it.
All right. So again, then the question is like, okay, well, now that we're pre-qualifying the leads, how can we take it to the next level, right? How can we actually like set the estimates for them and almost prep them for a sale, right? I wouldn't necessarily say today, July 2025, that we're going to sell it through AI, but I will not. Let's have this conversation in a year, and I don't know, right? We'll see how far we can take it. But at least when it comes to home remodeling services. So yeah, so that's what we've been doing. And now, Paulson, now that you guys have rolled out new AI features, now that AI is in a completely different space, now we're really looking at, okay, instead of texting them, let's call them. Let's have an AI call right away that acts as their receptionist to at least pre-qualify the lead, who has direct access to their calendar and can actually make an intelligent decision on when to schedule, because that has been an issue, right? Because they have sporadic schedules. And so we need to really have a system to be able to book it for them. So that's where we want to take it. We want to push Fortune House Media as far as possible into having AI help blue collar, trades, but in a way where they don't feel like it's AI, right? Because they're not necessarily number ones to sign up for AI right now. But we want it
Yeah.
to be like a seamless experience where all they experience is the positive results.
Yeah. See, what's interesting to me is the old ways of how marketing agencies functioned. Back then, when I say back then, I would say maybe 10, 12 years ago, we would just generate leads, throw it on a Google sheet, and just fax it over.
Yeah.
Like that was about it. And then we got into the world of putting it into, online drives and, Google Sheets and Docs and all these things. And now maybe 5 6 years ago we got to a world where people, like, a customer could see that we're generating leads and they can log into Facebook or Google, or they can see it in the social platforms at least, that some sort of leads are coming in. And now we're at a point where they see it in the CRM, but they're also wanting they've given the freedom to a lot of agencies or consultancies to help feel the sales cycle even further, right? Because they know they don't want to deal with large volumes of contacts. They only want to talk to the qualified people that
Absolutely.
are worth talking to.
Absolutely.
Now, is that what you're seeing across all of your clients? Like they don't want to see number of leads anymore. They just want to see, okay, how many quotes can we qualify?
Yes. So I will say, obviously, the caveat there is whether they have a team. So if they have a person sitting on their desk that is willing to call back every single person, then that's what they want them to do. Right. But I would say, yeah, 85% of them don't have that because. So what they truly want is I don't want 50,000 people, like you said, calling my phone. I want 10 people to call my phone, but all of them to be estimates ready to be sold. Right.
Right.
That's what I want. And I have to say that in a way, because at the beginning I was focusing more on the volume of leads, like really proving that we're bringing you all these leads, it backfired in a way. And I think that whoever's listening to
Yeah.
this who hasn't really applied this is really crucial because it's not just that the leads are coming in. They don't want to waste their time. Time is so much more valuable than anything else. And so if they could have the experience of speaking to a little bit less volume, but every time they have a good conversation and they feel like that person's really ready. And then also because we make these custom forms for them, which now is going to be a custom conversation, right? With the AI agent is going to transition
Mhm.
seamlessly. We're able to ask the specific questions. So let me give you an example. I have one contractor who we only try to get leads. Well, we only get leads for home additions. So he's not interested in kitchens, bathrooms, basement renovations, as some of our other GCs are, right? So the leads are coming in great, right? However, with this particular type of lead, there's a big difference between whether they have a blueprint ready or they don't, right? So if they don't have a blueprint ready, it's still kind of a wish that they're thinking, but they really need to have an actual blueprint from an architect in order for this contractor that I serve to take the call because he just doesn't have the time to waste with anybody else. However, we don't just want to throw those leads away, right? So what do? We built this automation for him, which now the AI agent is going to be able to create the same way. So what we did was we are asking them specifically, do you have a home edition? Do you have a blueprint for this home edition or not? And if they say no, then we send them the information. We say, Paulson, thank you so much for reaching out. We'd love to give you a free estimate on your home edition. However, we do need those blueprints. But so if you don't have an architect, however, that you're working with, this is our architect within our network that we recommend. And we give them that architect's information right then and there. And
Mhm.
then we have it obviously in the opportunity boards as a CRM. We're keeping track of everyone. Can you believe that the architect for that firm that we've been sending those leads to actually gave us a call, Fortune House Media, and said, what are you guys doing? Because I'm getting calls every week of people who are looking to get blueprints done. And my GC ended up closing a few deals. So now he has a special relationship with that architect, you can say. But we're doing this all automated. So my GC is not lifting a finger, and yet he's not losing leads. He's guiding them towards the next step. And if they're serious, right? And then we have automation in place where after 30 days, 60 days, we're following up with those leads. Hey, were you able to contact this architect? Were you able to get blueprints? So we're always nurturing and not letting go of those leads if they weren't, in the buyer's journey exactly where we needed them to be. And when all of this is done through automation and you can prove that ROI to your client, they're not going to go anywhere, right? And
Yeah.
so now our focus and our excitement is behind, okay, can we turn all of these automations that we've been working on into AI, into an AI voice and text experience?
Wow, that's amazing. I think what's crazy is when this whole AI thing came out, especially within high level, there was like this uneasiness among business owners, in my opinion, that well, either it's not good enough to replace a human, or if it does replace a human, we don't have like a say in the customer experience. Like it's one or the other. They're afraid of not enough AI or too much AI. Like have you seen that in the onboarding calls and they're like, "What? You're using AI. Does that mean I'm not talking to anybody? How am I going to make sure the customers are happy?" Or maybe the front desk is like a little weary and they're like, is that going to take my job away? Like
Right.
what is the emotionality around these solutions that you're seeing?
So because we're still rolling these features out, we are positioning them as we're going to now try AI and we're going to test it out on your account. So we're actually going with our approach is going obviously with our more seasoned clients who understand the value that we bring. So if there's any hallucination from the AI, if there's any error, it's okay because they understand that we're testing out a new feature, right? So that's number one. Number two, I don't think, and this goes to like, the universal marketing principle that they don't really care about the features. I really have to say they don't. They really care about the result. And
Yeah.
so if it's going to be better for someone to get a phone call instead of getting a text message, and if it's going to be better for that person to have a conversation in order to be really pre-qualified, that's all that's going to matter at the end, right? And I think that for the few that do have a person on the desk that calls back the leads, that's not their only job. So we're not going to replace them. We're actually going to take something off their plate. So it's
Mm,
helping them because those people on the desk are doing a million other things, right?
mm,
And then also I have to say that I have personally started doing what I call AI calls a lot with my seasoned GCs because AI is here no matter what. And actually, I think, I'm very grateful that I believe at least the trades that I'm serving are AI proof for the longest amount of time. I don't think forever, but for the longest amount of time, right? So AI is not necessarily going to replace your electrician right now or your plumber or the person building your house. The marketing and the back end of those businesses can be touched by AI, right? And so I think it's important for us agency owners to be one of the first ones and to be in the forefront of this and to be innovative in
mhm,
that sense. And then I think that when it comes to AI, right, I feel like my main question is how can I leverage this for us and for my customers? So when I have these what I call AI calls, I not only I try to get them familiar with this and I try to show them the value. So for example, and I actually haven't said this publicly before, but I make calls with my clients and I sit them down on ChatGPT. I make them go for the pro version and we upload blueprints and I show them because again, I see everything with my clients. So after we have qualified those leads and they're out there closing, then what are they missing next? Oh, I see. What's happening is that they have to manually a lot. Again, this is an old school blue collar industry and things are changing, but a lot of them are pen and paper, old school people. Okay. And what they're doing is they're manually, a lot of them are sending off the blueprints off to all of their subcontractors and they're getting quotes back. They're waiting in between to get the quotes back from everybody to then make their estimates to send it out to the person and they're competing against the other contractors, right? Who can get the bid out faster in a way. And so my mind is always working on like how can we use AI to help my client all the way to the finish line, right?
on their fulfillment side.
Even on that side, yeah. So what I do in a way that comes back to GHL, right? Because if I want to get them comfortable with having AI receptionists represent them on the phone, I need to, in a way, get them comfortable with AI as a whole. And so what I do is I sit them down and I'm
Mm.
like, listen, in January, it was impossible to upload blueprints and read them. I know because I thought it was a groundbreaking idea that I was having to have that done. And then I sign into ChatGPT in March and I'm like, oh, it's possible. Ta-da, it's done. Right. So we upload the blueprints and we're able to extract all of the subcontractor scopes of work. Right. We're able to get tasks to send it out to subcontractors. So I'm just starting to show them, and we're able to, with errors, not completely accurately yet. It's July. Talk to me in December. But right now, we can almost do 2D and 3D renderings from the blueprints.
Wow.
Yes, really crazy stuff.
So
So
what you're saying is, as a marketing agency, you're going beyond just marketing and sales automations. You're trying to study and understand what does your daily life look like? What does their fulfillment transactions look like? Their staff management looks like? What does their job task looks like? You're looking at all aspects of the business to see where you can plug and play AI.
yes. And so that's where our transition into an AI agency is, right? So Go High Level is a part of that. And we've already achieved so much as far as automations and pre-qualification, which has obviously helped me raise my price and my value. And then also I will say some of our contractors use it as a CRM, and also they use it to send out contracts, and they use it for all types of stuff, which is great that we're able to give them this back end system for the ones that don't have it, right? And that has been amazing. But for me, I'm like, if I'm going to be an AI agency, I want to know how I can use AI to help your entire business, right? And I may not focus on everything, but I want to at least understand that. And the more I get them familiar with AI and more comfortable with AI, the easier it is for them when I come out with, hey, let's do this as a service, right? Let's do this. They're able to say yes and trust the process a lot more.
I love this. This is brilliant, by the way. So help me understand what the relationship looks like with you and your clients. Like, let's say, like, walk us through the sales cycle and walk us through like a 2 month relationship. What does the first 2 months look like?
So that has changed because now that I've grown the team, right? And I think that this is how can I say? Maybe
A
this is what
moving
every agent.
target. It's a moving target right now.
No, because what happens is we are a boutique agency, right? And I'm still involved, but also because we grow, we need to hire more. And so, and because I'm also really wanting to focus on AI and actually learn it myself, right? So I can really understand the landscape of it, I have to delegate more. And so if you would have
Right.
asked me this a couple months ago, it's different than now. And now I'm trying to be that agency owner that's like, okay, they're onboarded, amazing. Everybody knows what to do. I'll take them through every step. And I touch in, but it's not, now we have a CSM. It's different than it was before, where I was really, really connected with every single client because I was
Right.
trying to make sure that we got off the ground, right? So,
Right. Right.
and this agency is still fairly new because I fully transitioned less than 2 years ago for an agency specifically for service-based business owners, right? Which is a different
Yeah.
niche, a different area than my previous experience in online marketing. So I kind of had to figure out what Go High Level even was, right? I had to figure out who the big players in the agency world were so I can learn from them and understand. And then I had to say, okay, well, now that I have these clients, forget what everybody else is doing. I want to know what my clients need and how I can best help them, right? And then AI comes in, and now we're just in this exciting place. But for me, for my seasoned, what I call day one clients, there's some that I speak to almost every other day because they're super busy and like they want our support in a different way. One of them has paid us officially for our first AI service to be built out for them. And another one, which is a service outside of Go High Level, right? So now we're talking an entire agent and automation for them. And then we have others that I speak to, I would say once a month. But I'm transitioning, Paulson, between the person that was talking to them all the time myself to, hey, we have this new person in between.
I
Talk to
love
them.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. So when it comes to, your vision for how the agency is very AI oriented, like how are you keeping up with all the AI stuff yourself to decide like, okay, what's relevant for my
Yeah.
customer? What's relevant for my industry?
All right. So such a good question because we have to, again, then I have to start evaluating from like you said, from the sales cycle, where do we get AI? Because for me, I'm looking at AI two ways in a way because Fortune House Media is a business, right? So it's like, okay, how can I use AI to automate all of my outreach and et cetera, right? So that's one aspect that I could look at and I could focus. And then the second aspect is AI for my clients and their needs. So you're completely right. It's hard to prioritize what to focus on. And then on top of that, AI is changing every single day, right? Last month, we were focusing on building AI agents. Now Claude can build them for you. And now it's like, okay, now we're focusing on creating the better prompts for N88. And so it's fun though, I will say. And I think that I've landed, this is where I've landed, Paulson. So one thing about me is uh I've been very hesitant to create content and create a personal brand. Also, I've been busy in the trenches. Listen, when you first start an agency, no one's handing anything to you. You have to go out
Right.
and get
Yeah.
it. And I started from very much zero in like probably knowledge about the agency world, and obviously zero in clients. But I think, everybody knows here that with an agency model, I think just pure grit alone will get you to a certain threshold, right? And then you can start learning about the fun stuff. So now that we're in a better place, I just think that I'm looking at it. So the first place that I want to use AI is the content. Okay. So I've been blessed. I don't know, attracted. God sent me a media buyer who is so good at copywriting, has experience in Australia already with a home remodeling agency where he
Mm.
writes the copy and creates AI video. Okay, so now we're talking VO, so good. Okay, not junky, not weird looking, like a really good. Because let's AI is still a new technology. It's just it gets 10 times better every day, right? So you don't miss out by using it right now because the more familiar you are with it right now, it'll get better. And a month from now, it looks near human. So content wise, my God, the ability to create so much more content using AI, and we could test out so many more angles using AI so much faster than my editor could do it. So that's number one that I'm really excited to try. He showed me some before and afters as far as the cost per lead when using these. And I have to say the copy and the actual videos, I could tell it's real. It's great. So now we're implementing that on the content side. So can we
Yeah.
get more leads for less, right? Using AI for content. That's one. Then, okay, once the leads come in, I would love to provide an AI, what we would call an AI agent, but what I would position more as like an AI receptionist, an AI estimator assistant to my client. I want someone to call. I want an AI to call, have a very friendly female, very important voice.
Yeah.
And I want them to really represent my client and almost have the ability to truly pre-qualify the lead, right? And I would take it as far as if the client lets us know if the estimate is done, like, or if they have an open calendar, can we book it on their calendar? And if they closed the estimate, can we have somebody call just to have a courtesy call? Like, I really want to stretch the AI. Like, how much of a human almost can I use you as, right? As far as just booking the estimates, how many more estimates can we book? Not only pre-qualified lead, but now book using AI. So that's one of my main focuses. And then
Yeah.
after the estimate is done, how can we use AI? Not estimate is done, but the ability, like once they say, I want to make an estimate for this client, right? They have what it takes. I want to sell this client. How can we use AI to help them outbeat their competition?
Yeah,
So,
I think the key is to continue questioning the norm, right, and of how things are done in an industry. Like we're seeing other industries do the same thing. Like I was talking to a gentleman in Houston. We had our high level hangouts, local meetups that high level did a couple of weeks back, and I was talking to a gentleman there, and he works with attorneys, and he has an AI agent set up, and the system basically talks to the prospect, qualifies the prospect, collects payment from the prospect, gets to a point where the agency has like a letterhead from the attorney's office that allows them to represent the attorney's office and puts out a contract. And once it's in contract, I guess preliminary contract phase
okay.
is when the attorney office looks at it. And it's already like deposit is already in, contracts are like preliminary contracts are signed, they outline the cases, and I'm like, man, the world of marketing and sales is changing rapidly.
Oh my God. And this is using Go High Level you're talking about?
This is well, I think they use parts of high level and they have their own AI systems. But yeah, he they do like over 1,400 contracts a month. It's insane
Oh my
numbers.
God,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's incredible. And I think that's exactly where I want to focus my attention. So I guess to answer your question when you're like, what are you going to prioritize? I am going to build in public. So maybe I will send you a link and you're going to see, because I think it's AI. And I'm going to say, listen, guys, we are transitioning to an AI agency. Watch me learn, apply, and let's listen to this AI agent. Do I think it's up to par? Yes. Okay, we're shipping it, etc. And kind of do that until we get to the place where we're like, this is our service. We're so proud of it and we're ready to ship it. So hopefully if we ever have a conversation again within the next 90 days, it'll be a little different, but I'm really excited for that.
I love it. So as we kind of close out this segment, help us understand your vision for the industry. So I know you are dealing with the blue collar industry that is probably set in their old ways. You've been able to transition them into a world of like comfortability. Now, what is your plan to get them to excel?
Just proof. I think once you have proof, there's so many things that they're going to see the value in right away, right? So if you're an electrician and you have GCs sending you bids all the time, you have You're walking through people's homes all the time. You have to give them pricing. You could just train an AI, even a chatbot at this point, with your pricing, and you can spit it out, right? You can walk around with Claude and it could be recording you as you're speaking about all of the pricing, all of how many outlets, etc. By the time you leave that meeting, it has everything you need. You feed that into your ChatGPT and the pricing spits out. When you see that happen in real life, and when you know, wow, I just saved this many hours, this much time, and I was able to book this many more people, it's not going to be whether you want to use AI or not. It's just going to be whether I want to use this obvious way to make more money or not. So I
Yeah.
don't focus so much on the AI, because when you first bring up AI to somebody who's probably never done anything with technology, sometimes I have the most surprising conversations with contractors where they're like, that's not for us, that's not going to touch us. And I'm like, no, the next contractor is going to use AI to build that estimate about 100 times faster than you, and they're going to close the bid, right? They're going to send out an estimate with the 3D render they didn't even touch, and you're going to get beat out every single time, right? So I feel like just making it an obvious way that could grow their business, that can make things easier for them, that can make things cost effective, right? You don't have to go and hire an entire sales team, an entire team.
Yeah.
You can hire someone that works 24/7, doesn't take days off, and brings you even better results than somebody else would. So I think that when it's an obvious plus, doesn't matter if it's AI or not. And my company is called Fortune House Media. I named it after the goddess of Fortuna, right? I really always wanted to just create a place like for that contractor where somebody can come, and as long as they're good at what they do, they can really grow, right? That was really my like driving point. And I've always said, like, I want to help people prosper, and that's the mission. And the tools will change, but the mission stays
Right.
the same, right? I mean, at one point ads were revolutionary, right? They were like incredible things, and now we just take them for granted. Like, we run ads every day. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal, right? And now AI, it is revolutionary, and it's a little different because it can, it's going to change the entire world. But at the end of the day, it's another tool, it's another way, it's another technology to reach the same mission. We could just probably
Yeah.
do it faster and better than ever before.
I love it. In as we kind of close out, I want you to go back 5 years and speak to the Karina 5 years ago and give her four words of wisdom. Like, what would you tell that Karina that's starting out in the world of digital citizenship and marketing and sales? Like, what would you say to that Karina? And we'll close out with that.
That's such a good question. Karina, 5 years ago. Okay, a few things. So, number one, I would say pick a lane. Just pick a lane. They all work. Pick one lane and find mentors, find people who are doing it really big in that space and study them. And then pick a number that you want to make and then multiply it times like 5, because you're probably thinking way too low. And that number that you think is going to change your life is not it. So that's what I would do. I would pick a lane and I would really study it. And then I would challenge myself to open my mind to there's a lot more abundance, a lot more possibility, a lot more people you can serve. And life will eventually throw you some bones, I guess you can say, like AI. So I think is a great opportunity for a lot of business owners right now, especially the ones who embrace it and don't shy away from it and start experimenting with it and understand that it's not a perfect technology right now, but there's one part of it that you can perfect, and that's good enough.
Yeah, I love that. For those of you that are watching, and if you found this inspiring or helpful, please uh, put some comments down in the comments and wherever you're watching this, whichever platform you're watching this. But Karina, thanks for saying yes to us. Thanks for being on our podcast. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you, Paulson.